Salutations, listeners.
Steve Valeo.
Valer Magulis.
Nano. Thank you for tuning in. This is Three Men in a Basement, and we are the Ultra Crepidarians. My name is Colin McLeod.
Mark Culp here.
Action Jackson.
And in this podcast, we review movies.
Sometimes.
Occasionally.
Yeah, once or twice. And we like to deliver to you, the listener, an average schmuck's opinion about hidden gems in the wide world of cinema. Mm-hmm. We try and target movies that are not total blockbuster smashes. We're not smashing any blocks.
No.
We're not targeting movies that are so obscure that you couldn't get your hands on a copy even if you wanted to.
I mean, we did.
Occasionally.
Yeah, you can find it. It's just, you got to put some effort in, but not too much effort.
No. I mean, you don't have to get the bloodhounds out, but like
a medium effort.
Yeah. Ask a guy on the corner, say, hey, you seen one of these?
Like a B plus effort?
Yeah.
Maybe a B minus adjacent?
Yeah. Like,
theoretically, yeah.
Your teacher would say, all right, you did fine, and your parents would be disappointed.
Yep.
Step it up.
Not gonna be a doctor.
Instead, we target the movies right in the middle. Those movies that maybe you heard about, maybe you haven't. Maybe these are movies that you saw once upon a time, and you thought, hey, is that still good?
I really don't know. Maybe I could listen to a podcast that could tell me if it is.
What podcast would they listen to?
They would listen to this podcast.
This one that we're doing right now?
This very one!
Fuck! How did I not know that?
I know, right? It's a coincidence.
Yeah, so we tell you whether or not you need to dig these movies out of quasi-obscurity and pop them in the old VCR and watch them again.
Yeah, the Baby Bjorns podcast. You know?
That's exactly right, Mark.
Just hanging out, making eyes.
In this, the 51st?
51.
The 51th episode of the podcast.
Wow.
We watched the movie
Heavy Metal 2000.
Heavy Metal Noise. That is not at all going to be annoying to the people listening at home.
Nope.
The high-pitched
Don't care.
screeches from the mid-30s something.
It's also
dudes.
never gonna get old.
No, of course not.
Turn it down or turn it up. I don't care.
Turn it up to 11.
Turn it up and rip the knob off.
Yeah. I mean, it fits. It's fucking heavy metal, bro.
It does. Okay, so Heavy Metal 2000, the 51th episode of the... We're not going to stop doing that, by the way. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, just probably turn this podcast off right
if you're
now.
sensitive to numbers, you know?
If you're a mathematician, just go ahead and turn it off.
Nerd.
This is Heavy Metal talk. Okay. Fuck. Sorry. Back on track. Heavy Metal 2000. When did this movie come out?
2000, actually.
Hey.
It's in the name.
2,000 years after our Lord and Savior Pontius Pilate.
Pontius.
Correct.
Yeah. What did he...
I'm going to get hate mail for that, by the way.
Yes, you are.
What did that guy pilot? Was it like a B-17?
Millennium Falcon.
That's a
I think it was a BC-17.
That's
the BC-17. The
like
Flying Cross.
Yeah,
You can't say that.
That's a
You
lot.
can't say that.
I think I just did.
That's a lot, though. You know what? That is a lot.
That's, you know what? You know when people say casually, like, oh, you're earning your wings in heaven. I think I did the opposite of whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, and how dare you set him up for that? He hits a home run like you pitched him, and then you're like, oh, that was too hard.
Oh, foul ball.
I hear you, but at the same time, you threw the ball.
I did.
You threw the ball.
Bastard. It was really,
This is on you.
It's Jackson's fault.
This is on you. All right.
So this movie came out, believe it or not, in the year 2000. Rated R. Thoughts?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought this was kind of like a medium plus G. No?
I mean, it's animated.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. It was the G string.
I
got my wires crossed.
Yep.
Yes. This movie is a hard R. Like, no questions asked, hard R. 1 hour and 28 minutes. Thoughts?
Felt a little bit long.
Honestly, I got to agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It dragged for some
It
reason.
was less than a tight 90.
For how, like, action-packed and how much shit was crammed into this movie, I honestly think it could have even been shorter than it was.
Well,
Yeah.
is that a symptom of like the script, or like is that like animated movies just aren't that long? Like, is there a reason?
I think one thing...
I agree, though.
I think one thing that maybe contributes to it is, like, the style of movie this is, and we'll get into it in a second, is, like, This movie basically functions as a protracted music video.
Yeah.
And, like, music videos are designed to be very quick, very punchy, very from the hip.
3 to 5 minutes.
So when you see an hour and a half long music video, you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is still going.
Yeah. It's like Guns N' Roses' November Rain.
Hey, I love that song.
I also love that song, but it's just like you reach that point in the middle where you're like, oh, November Rain's over. No, it's not.
Skip to
Psych.
the end. Yeah.
Okay, so Heavy Metal 2000. Cherries.
Big cherry over here.
I have seen the first one, Heavy Metal, came out in 1981.
Correct.
Probably saw it earlier than I should have. I was aware of this movie, had not seen it.
Actually, Mark, I'm going to second that. Had not seen this movie. I bought it with the explicit intention to watch it in this podcast. I had seen the first one. I grew up on the first one. I'd watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. Again, probably way the fuck before I should have. The first one, I will say, this is not a spoiler necessarily, but like, the first one was kind of this sort of bizarre anthology.
Yeah,
right?
totally different vibe.
Yeah, that sort of like, it marched through these very different stories over and over.
Like vignettes.
Yeah, whereas this one was a complete narrative, sort of from beginning to end.
Emphasis on the sort of.
But I actually have like very little recollection of the first one other than certain very round aspects of the first one. And
They're just hanging around.
yeah, they kind of bounce through the movie, if you will. And
I recall that as well.
this movie was new to me, and I'm so glad I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Similar notes.
Yes. Oh, certainly similar notes.
Yes.
Similar notes.
That's a lot.
What kind of genres we got?
Well, we've got, I think right off the bat, we've got adult animation,
Yeah.
which is a genre.
I would agree.
I disagree. I'm going to plant my flag on that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You stay over there. Let me qualify it. And I don't think that it was as like prevalent in 2000 as it was maybe like the late 80s, but like there was like a whole shift of like adult animated movies, like the Hobbit. I think they did like a Lord of the Rings version, and there's like a handful of them. Like The Last Unicorn, I think was one where it's an animated movie. It's got a similar like, and I don't think that this really makes sense because it's a cartoon, but for whatever reason, it makes sense in my head. Like if I were to say like aggressively 2D, like it's animated, but
I get what you're saying.
I don't know how to phrase it. Like it's not Disney animated.
No.
It's like it seems a little like rough around the edges in terms of like the illustration, but then it's also like chock full of, nudity or borderline nudity. Like it's definitely for adults.
Okay. I'm going to agree and then disagree and then disagree.
Do it.
All right.
Okay, so I agree that the animation style, which I was not expecting you to take that tact. Yeah, massively bizarre. We're going to get into this in spoilers, but like I've got things to say about the animation style. But you're totally right. Not sort of Disney classic animation style. Agree. Disagree on the specific points you threw out. So disagree that The Last Unicorn and what else did you throw out? The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies, the animated version, were adult fare. I would agree that I think adult animation is a thing ultimately. Like I think The Simpsons are a good example, or like Family Guy, right?
South Park,
right? Animated, but definitely for like a more adult audience.
But this was definitely not that.
Correct. But I would say, well, I don't know. I mean, kind of yes and no. But I would disagree in the sense that, but my ultimate thesis on all this, we've gotten back to this many times. Adult animation is not a genre unto itself. Animated may be a genre or animation, but adult animation is a subgenre below that, and I think this is the curse of the IMDb hyper-specific AI-generated genres.
See, I'm going to disagree with you.
I don't know.
I'm going to agree with Mark in the sense that adult animation absolutely is a genre unto itself. I would disagree that The Last Unicorn falls in that category.
Okay.
But just that movie of the examples that you mentioned.
Okay.
Now, I will throw out another example. Chronicles of Riddick: Dark Fury. Animated movie.
Sure.
Hyper-violent. Very gory.
Totally.
Dead Space.
Good example.
Absolute gore-fest insanity.
Would you say the Animatrix would also? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
But okay, hang on. Let me support my point through this. If you look at the end of the genres, again, we've talked about how, like, I think IMDb is putting these, like, AI-generated genres or hyper-specific genres sort of ahead of the older tags. The older tags are sci-fi,
yes.
Yep.
fantasy,
Yep.
action,
Yep.
animation,
Yeah.
and adventure. All things that I would classically consider genres, but I think are what this was originally tagged with before having adult animation added.
And dark comedy, which we've talked about.
And dark
at length.
comedy,
Yeah, yeah.
which is like...
Which absolutely does not belong on this movie. Like, I don't believe dark comedy should exist, but I do think that dark comedy does not apply to
See, that's
this movie.
interesting. I would actually disagree with that. I would say I do think it is a dark comedy, but I disagree that dark comedy should be a genre at all.
Right.
Which is to say agree with your point.
Now we could talk about this a lot longer. And my final point is that I believe there's like a certain animation style that was like prevalent in the late 80s of like adult animation. And I think that's like specifically what I'm talking about, is that like the animation style. Again, 2000, it's not the late 80s, but I feel like this was an homage to that style.
Well,
of
I mean, it
animation.
is a sequel to an 80s movie.
Right.
I love the tact you're taking on the like the stylistic aspects. I disagree with it, but I can't get into it until spoilers. But I really actually like, I respect that position.
Like it's gratuitous. Like it's very gratuitous. Like it's very sexually
Charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, we could go back and forth with this one too.
Okay, so is there anybody that can help us out with what the fuck this movie is about? What is this movie about? Jackson, what is this movie about?
Yeah,
do you know anybody?
I do know a guy. Let me see if I can get him on the phone here real quick.
Ring, 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 ring.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, hey, Reed.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
That's wonderful.
I was wondering if you could help us out with the the description of a movie.
Yeah, absolutely, I can.
Perfect.
I can.
I'm gonna let you take it away.
Let me take my German down just a little bit so you understand me. See, I went a little Chinese. I'm trying so hard not to laugh.
You don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth.
It's all-
Nobody understands the words coming out of your mouth.
I'm all over the place. Anyway. After surviving an invasion on her peaceful homeworld, a beautiful Avenger must stop a powerful psychopath from gaining immortality and rescue her kidnapped sister. How was that for you? Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought it was good. Also, I feel like you guys probably heard me that time.
I am gonna go lay down.
You're welcome.com.
Fuck, I am
You're welcome.
crying tears out of crying tears out of my face hole right
Crying
now.
tears out of my butthole right now.
Tears of my butthole.
Tears of my butthole.
Band name.
Yes.
Tears of my butthole.
But not tears of my butthole. That's a whole
tears.
different thing.
Tears.
Tears of my butthole.
You know what?
Tears
I'm
follows
going to go
tears.
ahead and say the fact that they're spelled the same.
Says something.
This says something, exactly. This
Yep.
means something more
Yep.
than just tears of my butthole.
It's got layers.
It's like onions.
It's got flaps for sure sometimes.
Oh, gotta have flaps.
You don't want flaps in your butthole, but sometimes God gets a little creative.
You don't just go not having flaps. Okay. Who the fuck is in this movie?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So, our primary antagonist, by the name of Tyler, is voiced by none other than Michael Ironside.
Motherfucking Michael Ironside.
What an absolute legend.
I feel like this guy has a boat. And on that boat, he's got like a trolling net or whatever that is at the bottom of the goddamn ocean. And eventually he catches things and he says, yes, I want to be in that movie.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
exactly what
Like
happens.
he just shows up in like this the random shit.
Fucking Starship Troopers, Total Recall, Top Gun, Barry.
Michael Ironside, everyone knows him.
Oh, yeah.
Starship Troopers, he plays the teacher who then becomes the head of the Roughnecks, who teaches Rico everything he knows.
Total legend.
Also plays Richter in Total Recall, right? The bad guy. He also plays the bad guy in Scanners. Fucking remember Scanners?
Oh, that's such a good one.
Fucking Cronenberg movie. Heads
Yes.
exploding, like...
I saw him in this crazy. It was on Netflix called The Turbo Kid.
Yes.
Oh.
Fucking loved him.
Great movie.
Okay.
Michael Ironside's fucking classic. If you don't know who Michael Ironside is,
Read a book.
yeah, read a book. Any book. Literally any book. Read the King James Bible. Michael Ironside is in it.
I think he plays King James.
He absolutely does. Read, he's in most Jane Austen books.
True.
He is unfucking stoppable.
Pride, Prejudice, and Ironside.
Oh, man. Speaking of Pride and Prejudice, though, we got another voice actor in this, Julie Strain.
Yeah.
She's prideful.
Yep.
I hope she's not prejudiced.
Yeah.
But she is pretty.
But dead.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's...
I might cut that out.
yeah. Okay.
Fuck. It's just like it's like pistol whipping a blind kid. Like, holy shit.
Let's see.
Gotta admit, it was funny, though.
It's like the verbal equivalent of wah wah.
Oh, man. That was somebody's daughter.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, oh, my God. Oh,
I'm
my God.
schwitzing over here.
You brought us into this room.
I did.
I just showed you what was on the
I
walls.
opened the door, and Mark was like, and this is your prize.
Yes. Okay, so Julie Strain, you probably have no idea who she is. She played Annihilator Girl in Beverly Hills Cop 3. She played Dominatrix in Naked Gun 33.
And a third.
And a third.
We gotta get that third in there. That's important.
She was in Grass Hook Massacre.
And she played Blue Steel in Fit to Kill.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that Julie's attributes, let's say, were a feature of her casting.
Yeah.
Can we say that?
I would say that would be accurate.
Yeah, she's a badass lady. I have not dug that deep, but I get like WWE vibes.
Yeah. What's her name? China?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I forget. It was China something. I don't remember. But
The chick who played Xena, too? Was that China? Who the fuck was that?
Lucy Lawless.
It's kind of like Lucy Lawless vibes.
Man,
Lucy Lawless. Oh, man.
Like, you know...
have you seen that meme that's like...
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to get them all thirsty.
You see that meme that's like Xena and her like sidekick, and it's like, we're not lesbians. We just helped a whole bunch of girls in the 90s realize that they were lesbians.
Yeah.
Right? Lucy Lawless, fantastic. But it has that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Vibe in the sense that like she is like badass. Look like she could probably kick your ass six ways from Sunday.
She could kick my ass.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then last but certainly not least on our mentions, fucking Billy Idol.
William Idol.
Oh,
Willie.
absolute legend. If you don't know who Billy Idol is, I don't want to be your friend.
Best known from his role in The Wedding Singer.
Yeah, as Billy Idol.
It's a white wedding.
And other films such as Speed, where he was Billy Idol.
Well, he's gotta, gotta keep it up.
Yeah. And, can't forget The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, where he was Billy Idol.
Oh, he played Billy Idol?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Nice. I thought it was Bon Jovi.
If you haven't figured out already, Billy Idol is a singer, rather famous singer.
Yeah, he's famous for his white weddings.
Yeah.
Bit of an idol, if you will.
Yes.
Everybody loves Billy Idol.
I love Billy Idol.
Nobody talks to Billy that way.
No, nobody puts Billy in a corner.
Okay, is that pretty much all we got in this movie?
Yeah, there's a lot more people in this movie, but
them's the important one.
that's who we're gonna talk about.
So, would we recommend this movie?
To who?
Yes.
To who is the big question for this one.
Yes. And one person that I'm going to recommend this movie to is my friend Danny.
Classic Danny, am I right?
Danny.
Fucking Danny.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. The other small group of people that I would recommend this movie to are...
It's gonna be Danny.
Yeah.
And Co.
And my cousin Dan.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan.
Danny and Dan.
Any more D's?
Daniel.
Daniel Son.
No, not Daniel. He wouldn't like this movie.
Not Daniel?
No.
Fuck.
But Gabby would like this movie.
Of course Gabby would.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Gabby, you could just tell. You look Gabby in the eyes and you can tell be into heavy metal 2000.
Yep.
Okay, so are you recommending?
Yeah. No, see, here's the thing. There is a small circle of people that I would recommend this movie to, and it would not come up organically, I don't think.
Right.
That's a yes.
Yeah, so the definition...
I mean, it is a yes. It is a yes with many, many caveats.
If we have to, define what this question is asking, would you recommend it to you before you had seen it?
Yes. I would recommend it to me before I had seen it.
There we go. All right. How about Colin?
I would recommend the shit out of this movie to myself. I, like Jackson, would recommend this movie with a whole suite of caveats to a general audience. I think...
But your children, would you recommend it to your children?
In about 10 or 13 years. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. If they're anything like their old man. Yes. So I think we've talked about this before, where there's a target demographic for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like, we've talked about this before, if you get particularly excited about mozzarella sticks at Applebee's, and you're like a 13-year-old American male, and you're like, zika, 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 when you hear that your mozzarella sticks came, like fucking...
No, they came.
You will jam on this movie.
Yeah,
it has a very specific type.
If you collect minifigures of any kind and or have a Tron poster in your bedroom, this one's for you.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I would also recommend it to me. It's...
You sure about that?
It's a lot. It's a lot. You know,
It's a lot.
I don't know if I want to watch it again.
I
right
would
now.
watch it again.
I can think of a very specific circumstance where you would watch this movie again.
Yeah, and I don't know. If this is...
Mark immediately concedes. Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, no,
and
yeah,
I,
for sure.
I don't know what you're alluding to, but like, I think there are certain things that would make this movie better.
Tissues.
Yes.
I was thinking a bowl, but
Oh, that.
Let's not discriminate. It can be all of the above.
That too.
All of the above.
That too. Yeah, no,
Okay.
it was all right. So I guess we're all
Three Rex around, right?
yeah, Rex around, Rex
Yeah.
around.
Are we ready to wop 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 wop?
You're welcome.
You know, he did kind of carry it a little bit there. That's
Have you heard that version yet? No,
I
you haven't.
I
So
appreciate that.
that's 50 wants.
I think you broke Jackson.
Thanks.
The 51th whap.
Okay, those buenas mean that we are in spoiler territory.
Yeah, we are.
If you don't want this movie that will absolutely not be ruined by spoilers,
It's an intellectually
spoiler
titillizing.
for you.
We are behind enema lines.
Enema lines. We are way behind enema lines. The phosphate has taken over, and we are evacuating.
But I already drank the barium.
So this movie was real horny.
Oh my god.
It was real horny.
Yeah, if you get uncomfortable with any sex stuff, I would probably just turn this podcast off.
You know what's really funny to me is the person who directed this movie was a creative influencer for a ton of the Marvel movies.
I can see that.
Like Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain America, Ant-Man.
Okay,
like,
think about it this way, though. That person, like, we love those movies, right?
Yeah.
Can we all agree that we love the MCU?
absolutely.
The early MCU.
That person was probably near about the same age as us, at about the same time, maybe a couple years older, when this movie came out. That person knew exactly what people like us were looking for at that particular moment in time, whilst trying to emulate what the generation before in 1981 were experiencing with the first heavy metal.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were under no delusions about what they were creating, and I think that translated very well into the MCU, where it was like, okay, we've gotten a little bit older, a little bit wiser,
More refined.
We have the internet to deal with some of these other issues that we're sort of dealing with on a daily basis, that we don't need studios to create content for us, curated for that need, and we need to just see, Iron Man blow some shit up.
Yeah.
And so on they go.
Yep.
Yeah, so in this circumstance, it was boobs, blood, and
Titties.
boobs and titties
Yep.
as separate entities.
Yep.
Okay, I would like to point out that there were like I see the seeming redundance here. I would like to point out that there were pairs, there were quads,
And there were sets.
and there were sextuplets running around in this movie.
That's true.
So
That's
we're-
true.
there were herds of titties.
Perfectly acceptable to assume that there were boobs, there were titties,
Well, hang on.
and there were tatas.
Hang on, and
all
what-
just sort of.
At what is the threshold? Okay, what is the line where boobs become udders? Because I believe that when you've got 6 nipples, okay, you have moved into udder territory, okay? It's
utterly ridiculous.
it truly is.
Mark was utterly confused.
Right. At what point are we just looking at a lactating cat? You know? Like,
I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
exactly. So, are we still talking about boobs at that point? Because in my mind, I believe that boobs it's a binary situation. Maybe, that's not a word, but trinary situation if we're talking Total Recall.
Boobs in triplicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like these are just straight up.
Is that okay? Explain to me. Is that where your tattoo comes from? That says boobs is binary.
Yes, that's exactly
Okay.
where it comes from.
Makes sense.
Yes.
I get that.
Also, Titties in Triplicate band name?
Titties in triplicate. Okay, I'll get down on some of that.
Is that an a cappella group?
Probably. It's like a three-person.
It's not three men. Okay,
Yeah,
that's.
I mean, it could be.
Well, okay.
Okay, but
Fair.
let's just take a math angle on this. So you're saying that Total Recall is phenomenal because it's got
Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside, certainly.
Holy
but
shit,
like
it does.
it's got 3 tits.
Guy's got a resume.
This movie has one person who has 6. Does that make this movie
Twice as good.
mathematically twice as good?
I don't know. I still feel like three.
Math, bro. It's math.
3 of them still feels like you're in like boob territory, but 6, we're moving. We're changing. You know, we've moved beyond.
I'll buy that.
I'll buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Well, at least a Bitcoin.
I'd buy that for a Bitcoin. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I know they remade RoboCop, but like fuck that movie. Like let's assume that they remade it good. I'd buy that for a Bitcoin?
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
I'd buy that for a Bitcoin.
So we've opened this past spoilers here. We haven't even started talking about the movie outside of just our like. How does this movie start?
It starts with
Start with boobs?
almost.
It actually kind of does.
It starts with a voiceover that explains that there is a part of the universe on a planet that has some kind of opening or pathway.
An orifice?
And
Yeah.
probably through which you can get this elixir that makes you basically immortal.
It's the fountain of youth.
It is. It absolutely is. And this race of beings used it to sort of enslave their part of the universe, and the species that they had enslaved created a gate to block the flow of this material, this fluid.
The orifice fluid.
And they used the cutting off of this elixir of life to overthrow them, lock the gate, as it were, and then throw the key into space. And whoever finds the key will be drawn to unlock the gate of this fountain of youth, and the key will also drive them mad. That is how the movie starts, more or less.
And if you had a hard time following that, I understand.
And it doesn't get simpler.
Okay, so then it cuts to space mining.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got 2 dudes just banging some rocks. Just getting in there, just banging them rocks.
What you can't see, ladies and gentlemen,
Don't.
is the motion that Mark is making while he's saying
Two dudes banging.
2 dudes banging some rocks.
Some people may say jackhammering, and I don't know if that's.
Oh,
a word.
no. They weren't
that-
jackhammers. They were matter munchers.
They were.
No. He wished he had a matter muncher.
Oh, don't
He
we
was
all?
He was just
Yeah.
regular jackhammering. He wished he had a matter muncher.
Yeah, that's, don't we all? Don't we
He
all?
couldn't deal with those crappy heads anymore.
Nobody wants crappy head.
No.
Well, you don't really.
This is the filthiest episode, and it's so appropriate for the movie we're reviewing.
This is the PG part.
This is.
Yeah. Okay, so dude cracks open a rock, and a green light spills out onto him.
As one does.
Yeah, he is mesmerized. Gets his buddy over there. Hey, check this out. I got something worth looking at over here. It ends up possessing him. I think we can kind of jump a little bit.
Which he found the key.
Yeah.
And the key drives people insane.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about that whole scene is that he picks up the big glowing rock and starts going insane. And right as he picks it up, he goes, "It's weird."
And then becomes Nathan
And then
Explosion
becomes-
from Metalocalypse.
Yes. Fucking heavy metal hair just sprouts from the top of his head and he grows fangs.
Super badass.
It really is. Okay, so he...
Again, I hate to love this, but come on, you love this.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That made it fucking dope. Okay, so this guy kills his partner.
With the jackhammer.
Yep, jacked him up real good.
Which I think is the first indication that, again, I disagree that adult animation is a genre, but the point stands that, this is adult animation.
Yeah.
I would say it's a subgenre, but whatever.
It's a bullshit genre, but it applies to
It
this
doesn't
movie.
fucking matter. Like, the second this dude kills another dude with a jackhammer and you see the blood splatter, I remember looking at Mark and Jackson's face and they were like, and I was like, yep, here we go.
It was I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that.
Okay, so the guy gets possessed, takes over this mining operation, hops in I guess the ship that they had used, and
It's like a shuttle to get to the mothership or something.
yeah, so he takes over the crew. They leave the asteroid and they're heading for this planet.
Yeah.
Or they're heading for a spaceport. But again, we don't have to get lost in the weeds too much.
No, so basically the key possesses whoever finds it and draws them towards the gate to the source, right? It's kind of a Ghostbuster situation, right? The key master and the gatekeeper kind of find each other.
Are you the key master?
Yeah.
Hang on, I got a little steamy when Jackson said that. I'll be right back. But basically, whoever finds the key is drawn towards this gate, but they're specifically drawn towards, what do you want to call it? The fluid, the
Fountain of Youth.
yeah. But what does the fountain of youth give off?
Youth.
Vapor?
Youth vapor. Okay, so they're going for the. No, that sounds nasty. That sounds terrible.
Are you talking about the vials that he's
Yeah,
he's
what would you
chugging
call
on?
that juice?
Oh.
Youth juice.
Youth juice. Okay,
The essence of life.
he's drawn to the youth juice. Fuck, that sounds worse.
Well, no. Oh, yeah, you can't say that.
Water
can't
is
be-
the
you can't be
essence
saying
of
that.
wetness, and wetness is the essence
Yeah,
of
youth
life.
juice is not something you can say.
No,
No.
you don't go saying that around.
Not in polite company, at least. But no, there was like some convoluted like story building here where like there were certain people, things, creatures, whatever, that were like close to whatever youth juice we're talking about.
We got to find a word for it. Is what I'm saying.
I like youth juice. Don't cut that.
I have
out.
a recording of that now.
Cut that sentence out.
That is on my computer.
Yeah.
Yowza!
Yeah.
We're gonna be on a list.
Woof. But no, we've got this like weird German scientist alien thing that
Because
is
of course he's German.
yeah, because all
All evil space scientist aliens are German.
Listen, sometimes you're space German, and that's just
Unfortunate.
obviously you're gonna be evil. I mean, there's no question
That's
about
how
it.
it works. I don't make the rules.
Okay.
Space German scientist is like pulling the essence out of these individuals that happen to be close to
Yeah, so he goes on a mission across the universe to find the
essence.
youth juice. Fuck.
Essence. Just call it essence.
What are we gonna call it?
We just call it
gotta-
essence. That's
Essence.
fine.
Okay. He goes to find the essence, and he's basically scanning every planet that he comes across for this. He knows what to look for because he possesses the key. The key drives him insane, but it also drives him towards whatever the fuck planet has this essence on it. He finds a small quantity on this one planet. He and his cronies descend on this planet and destroy it and realize that it only exists in trace amounts in the bodies of the people there. So he takes a whole bunch of people hostage and they basically harvest the people and distill the essence out of their bodies. This gives him enough immortality juice for, let's say, like 20 vials or something like that.
Yeah, give or take.
And then kind of throughout the movie, this guy is essentially immortal because anytime he gets murdered or mortally injured, he can just drink a vial of this stuff and he automatically heals. The idea being that the ultimate source of this stuff does exist on a planet somewhere from some fountain of youth, and he could basically have an unlimited supply of it and exist in perpetuity regardless of whatever sort of like mortal damage or corporeal damage he sustains if he just finds that planet. But he's got enough to sort of get there and sustain him. And so after he destroys this peaceful planet where they are basically just
Called Eden, I think was the name.
Yep.
Eden, very on the nose. Also, I would like to point out that the ship he was driving while he was headed towards Eden was just like obnoxiously on the nose. It was called Cortez.
Yeah.
So he goes to this very sort of like unsullied world and then just fucks it up horrendously.
Kills virtually anyone that stands in his way.
Except for the people he wants to harvest for the juice.
Yeah.
And the two people he doesn't kill, basically, are a super hot chick and her super hot sister.
Yep. He kidnaps one of the chicks.
The sister.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're both, technically.
Yeah, but not the
No,
hot
but-
chick, the hot sister.
Yes, there's only one that's the sister. The other one is
The hot chick.
The hot chick. The badass.
The Xena.
The Xena.
Yeah. So he kidnaps her, and basically this sets up a revenge story for the Xena chick to hunt him down and kill him.
Julie.
And at that point, she doesn't know that her sister's been kidnapped. She assumes that her sister's dead. Her whole goal is to just find him and kill him.
Yeah, she literally saw the building that her sister was in blow up, and she was just like, well, she's dead, along with my father, and so revenge is my primary motivation.
Yeah. So at that point, he is plotting a course for the nearest jump point, which is Neo Calcutta. Looks like a big revolving spaceport that people just congregate and drink and party and...
It's basically a bolt.
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah. And they chase after him, and they both land on Neo Calcutta. And when they enter, it is the horniest spaceport in the history of sci-fi.
Which is saying something, because there's some pretty horny spaceports out
Yeah.
Yeah, Mos Eisley got nothing on this place.
Well, to be fair, Mos Eisley is basically it's just a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Right.
So, I mean...
Not necessarily horny.
Not horny, scum and villainy. Just regular, old, run-of-the-mill scum and villainy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really turned that up to 11 in this.
Wow. I don't think there was a single watering hole on that spaceport that wasn't shaped like boobs.
Yep. And
Which was amazing!
It was a lot, but...
It was a lot.
But
again, just think of the target demographic and think of the time and place. Like, when this movie was being built, like, the internet really wasn't what it was. Like, and it was just like, we need to make a movie to, like, let these feelings out that we've all been bottling up inside of us.
It was made for teenagers with a Betamax.
Before... we had all of this stuff at our fingertips. Yeah. Like, this was Channel 88 back before Channel 88 existed.
Yep. But it was weird because, like, it didn't jump both feet into, like, it wasn't like a porno.
No.
Like, you could tell that, like, the driving force of the movie was the sci-fi action. But, man, there was a lot of...
Just so many boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally I have... one of my liner notes is just, if you love space, metal, violence, and titties, this is your movie.
Yeah, that should have been the description.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it just...
It's a lot. It's fine. It's fine.
But this scene in this bar that they land in, Tyler, our main bad guy, played by Michael Ironside, is sitting at a table drinking and watching ladies of all manner of humanoid dance around in underwear or less. And there's one in particular that has 6 breasts.
Yes.
Breasts.
Breasts.
How about those breasts?
Breasts.
Balderdash!
That is a very specific quote from a movie that we're just gonna, like, shoo aside for now.
Yeah, we're just gonna sweep that under the rug.
That's an us thing, and you don't have to worry about it.
It's an us thing, but it's in your catalog, so you have to take ownership of it.
I take ownership with you two, but not the listening audience.
No, that's for the 3 of us.
That's just us.
So, okay, bad guy, Tyler.
Okay.
Great bad guy name.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, well, I was going to disagree with that.
No.
What are you talking about, Tyler?
I literally have Tyler ? Exclamation point on my list.
Have you ever met a good Tyler?
Okay, I'm not saying I've met a good Tyler. I'm just saying...
It's the most unimaginative name for a bad guy.
Like, it's literally, like, whoever the fuck wrote this... I know this is written by, like, dudes, but, like...
I feel like Tyler stole this guy's girlfriend.
I was going to say, I feel like this dude in, like, middle school maybe sort of kind of had a crush on a dude named Tyler, and the dude, like, very aggressively rejected him, and he was like, you know what? Fuck you, Tyler.
You're going in my movie.
You're going in my movie. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to be the bad guy.
Yep.
To make an awesome bad guy.
It's just Julie and Tyler, which, like, feels very not space sci-fi.
It's fine.
Maybe I'm wrong.
The rock dude's name was Zeke.
Yes, which is also a human name.
Yes.
I just feel like, what happened to Zaxxar?
Yeah.
Zaxxar was a very, like, sexy, spacey name.
Barbarella.
Yeah, you don't need to be named Tyler.
That's true. Anyway, so they're at this space bar, and out of nowhere, our Xenotype What the fuck was her name? Julie?
Julie.
Julie comes out of nowhere, pulls out this space minigun,
appear-
lights this mother effer up, like, shoots him through the face.
With like a space M134. Like,
Yeah, like a minigun, just like fucking.
Yep. And then she, like, turns around. She's like, all right, I did what it... And to be fair, if I showed up out of nowhere and shot you guys in the face, I would
Like
feel
15 times.
and the chest, and the belly, and the shoulders,
I think
and
I was
the
done.
neck. Yeah.
I wouldn't need to stick around.
No, I would punch my time card and be like, I'm done with this.
So she does.
And as every action hero does, she just chucks the gun and walks away.
'Cause it's
Perfectly
badass.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Perfectly reasonable.
Because when you're out of ammo, the gun doesn't work anymore. We established that.
No, yeah, we figured that out.
Yep,
in,
that's canon.
In what?
Lockout.
Lockout. In Lockout. Yeah, no, we figured that out.
But what we as the viewer know is that Tyler's been sipping on that youth juice. And, you didn't like that?
There's no getting away from it. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. I'm so sorry.
Just don't like it!
Mark, I gotta agree with you. That's all that's...
You're not supposed to like it. He's the bad guy.
I don't like youth juice.
None of us like you.
You're not supposed to.
But you know who does?
Tyler.
The bad guy.
Tyler.
Fucking Tyler.
And everybody knows a Tyler.
Sipping on youth juice.
Ugh. 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 So Tyler gets up, sips on his juice, and fights back. I think he, like, knocks her on her ass. They don't really show it, but, like, he blows up a bunch of grenades, like, blows the bar up, and then they fuck out of there.
Yeah, she had a bandolier of grenades, and somehow he pulled the pin on all of them and just walked away.
Classic Tyler.
Yeah.
Yep.
So from there, Tyler makes a space jump to
Ouroboros.
Wax R7 or something.
space
Ouroboros.
Zion.
Ouroboros.
You know, fuck you. You're
Ouroboros.
No, I'm not.
Boris.
No, I'm not.
You know what? He's a Borising me right now.
I am not.
And they hitch a ride. Kind of Millennium Falcon style.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same fucking thing.
Right?
Yeah, they
Like-
absolutely did that.
Yep.
And they send out...
TIE fighters.
Yeah, they send out TIE fighters against him, and they fucking try and shoot them, and they go, pew, 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 and they go, haha, not today, friend, and then they...
Not today, Tyler.
God damn it, Tyler.
Yep.
And
I
then...
just want a t-shirt that says, not today, Tyler.
Not today, Tyler.
So blip, bloop, blap.
We're going to be the only ones that get that. and
We
I
are.
think
We're
that's
going to
great.
walk around with t-shirts that say, not today, Tyler, and we're going to walk up to a dude named Tyler, and he's
Yep.
going to be like,
What about?
What the fuck, man?
why?
Why not?
Why?
Why not, man?
It's like, you know why.
You know what you, did.
know why in the year 2000, you fuck.
No, honestly, I don't know.
Sipping on your youth juice.
Fucking pervert. Okay, so they make it to the planet. Okay, the planet with the thing.
With the youth
With the youth juice.
With the fountain. With the
fountain of
actual,
what, Mark?
The source of the youth juice. Okay? The primordial juice of the youth. I don't like any of this.
Nobody likes this. Nobody
Okay.
likes this.
Provocative.
I don't like that description either, because it just puts a fine point on it. You know, we can dance around it, but when you use the word provocative,
So Tyler, obviously...
he doesn't even touch on it. He just moves on. It's probably for the best.
So Tyler obviously lands on this planet and, as you would expect, enslaves a race of dinosaur monsters.
Lizard men.
I mean, it's pretty much the next logical phase of this plan, right?
the lizard men of Shantar.
Very metal.
It is exceptionally metal.
So great.
And, well, I mean, he doesn't kill them by, like, making a persuasive speech. He kills their leader by throwing him into lava.
Trial by combat.
And then where's their leader's face for the rest of the movie?
Obviously. I mean, I don't even know why you wasted your breath saying that. That was the most obvious next step.
Oh, but it gets better because he fucking paints the Punisher logo on his chest and
pretty dope.
wears a pauldron of thorns.
Did we ever figure out where he got the tailor
No idea.
that crafted that very spiky and skull-flavored outfit?
Nope.
Okay,
Probably-
I'm going to go ahead and cross that off of my list. Where did he get that outfit? Because I thought that was something that you guys would be able to help me with.
Probably from his army of lizardmen slaves.
Not the thing I thought I was going to hear with my ear holes today.
No, that wasn't on my bingo card.
Okay, so Tyler now has an army of lizards, and he is going to descend upon the
I swear to God, this is better than we're making it sound.
yeah. Well, I mean, is it?
What teenage boy doesn't want an army of lizards?
I do.
Every
I did.
fucking teenage
Yeah,
boy.
that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so
And adult boy, a.k.a. me.
Same.
on the planet that he harvested his lizard army, there's also like a group of six-eyed
Acolytes.
yeah, who have spent their life or whatever protecting or guarding this fountain of youth. Okay, youth juice, yes, trademark.
TM.
It's like booty sweat,
It is.
but it's less acceptable.
It is. We're going to market this as a fucking energy drink.
Too much. No,
Youth juice.
no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Full stop.
Youth juice, now in lizard flavor.
I'm more okay with that. Anyway,
lizards.
so Tyler is going to take his army of lizards and attack. It's not a citadel, but it's more or less a citadel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to bring his key to the fountain so that he can get his.
This is a
Stuff.
very, very not so veiled sexual metaphor, which is basically this entire movie.
Yes, there's a lot of innuendos.
yeah.
Okay. Battle. There's a battle.
Big battle.
Honestly, a pretty fucking sweet
It
battle.
was awesome.
Yeah.
And completely inexplicably, this battle was fought with, like, traditional weapons. Like
bow and arrow.
arrows and swords.
Because it's metal, Colin.
Honestly, you're right. That's the only reason. It's
How?
like, well, it's fucking more metal if we're using bows and arrows and swords than the assault rifles and lasers that we had 30 fucking minutes ago.
Yep.
What do you want to have, like lightsabers? I know, pussy.
So good.
I mean, one of our guys, which we haven't even mentioned, Odin, the somewhat sorcerer-looking motherfucker who's
Yeah.
just like leading Julie around the planet, chasing after Tyler this whole time.
Yeah.
You don't go leading Julie.
He
No.
was the exposition wizard for
Yeah.
the first half of the movie.
Exposition Wizard.
Was that a
I feel like that's a band name.
Could be.
It could be a title track.
Exposition wizard. title
Exposition Wizard. It also sounds like something that my wife would do for a living.
Is that the title track of the self-named album from Titties and Triplicate?
Yeah, I think it might be.
Exposition Wizard.
But yeah, Odin is our guy. He's the one that's like giving her the lore and telling her what's up.
Yep.
And leading her to the city of Shantar, where Tyler is harvesting his lizard army.
Tyler. It will never be fucking not weird when you say Tyler.
Right. And then she tries to kill Tyler and doesn't succeed because he seemingly can't be killed. So then they fuck off back to the Citadel and prepare for war.
Okay, so the battle sort of like climaxes with
Nice.
Julie.
Curious choice of words, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it fits. Julie and
Because
Tyler
of coming.
For the youth juice.
don't like that. That's too much. That's a lot. So Julie and Tyler are fighting at the top of this mountain. She
Let it out, buddy. Let it out. Tell us about the coming, Mark.
she kills him.
Yeah.
Is there anything more to that? Like they fight and she ends up getting him?
I think we should probably discuss Julie's questionable choice of costume.
Oh, her very comprehensive armor that covers all of the important parts of
She had
her
her
body.
glute pads.
Yeah, she had her battle lingerie on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you have too much armor around your glutes, it slows you down.
It's Victoria's secret to success in battle.
Yeah. How else are you supposed to move like that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's an agility thing.
Yeah, free range of motion.
Don't
Yeah.
have to gird your loins if you don't have any loins to gird.
Stop sexualizing it, Jackson. Okay? That's very close-minded of you. Okay? This is all about utility. Okay? You ever worn that outfit? You have no idea how flexible you can be with that. I've worn that outfit. I know that I can get around.
I hate to admit this, but I used to work in the laundry, and I smelled that outfit, and I can confirm that Mark wore that outfit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. It goes right up my crack.
Yeah. Just snaps right in there.
Deep
Yep.
crack.
Like
It-
clicks into place.
Yes.
There's a clicking for sure.
I always knew what Mark had for breakfast.
And potentially dinner because it's a deep crack.
Yeah, it was a function of how much fiber he had.
Yes. Yes, you could taste it. That's a lot.
I broke first. Okay, so
The fight.
Yeah, a very curious choice of battle armor.
Yep.
And she kills the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Well, she slowly, like, he's using up his little vials of youth juice. He loses his last one, and she kills him, and he can't come back.
Right.
So, I mean, that's like a...
Can we talk about how she kills him? Like, I just want to touch on this for a bit.
Go for it.
So, she fucking stabs him and slashes at him, and then he's got her pinned down, and she just, like, rears up with her spiky shoulder pads and stabs him in the dick.
It's pronounced penis.
It's pronounced Cockenstein.
She stabbed his Cockenstein off.
Yeah, which...
Like Gonzo.
He seemed to shrug off for a second.
Yeah.
Right in the wee-wee?
I would not shrug that off.
She also shoved a broken piece of the axe handle she was wielding into his eye.
Also, would not shrug that off.
No.
My favorite part, though, has got to be, dude, she, like, gets on his back and just straight up snaps his neck like a chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty badass.
She just had him pinned on the ground, and she just, like, gone.
Yep.
And then he disintegrates into thin air.
I gotta say, like, I do appreciate that this movie sort of, like, appeals to the teenage male fantasy of, like, there's a lot of big tits and there's a lot of fucking, you know, violence and there's a lot of blah, blah, blah. And there's some, I think, female victimhood, but at the same time... I think she killed the fucking shit out of him, and she evened the score pretty fucking handedly.
Yeah.
Like, she killed him angry, and that was good. And that was good.
Let's talk about this for a quick second here, and maybe this we could have this later as well, but let's just have it now. Female empowerment or female objectification? Because, like, well, a lot of titties, ridiculous outfits, of course it's objectification, no questions asked. But she's a fucking badass, and there's no compunctions about it. Like, she's the tits, you know? And I don't mean that in, like, a sexy way, like...
Right, but in the, like, she fucking slays.
Oh, yeah. She's absolute badass.
She's no damsel in any fucking way.
No, she is the opposite of a damsel. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here and say, 3 mid-30-somethings dudes describing this. Probably not, like, the greatest suite of, like, opinions on the planet.
No, we talked about the tits.
But...
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
But at the same time, like...
We brought that up.
I gotta be true to me, and I gotta say, man, she fucking killed it. Everybody loves hot people figuring it out.
Oh, yeah.
And she was, yes, a bodacious heroine, but at the same time, fucking slayed the bad guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I have the most objective opinion in the world, but, like, I pretty enjoyed that chick giving that guy his comeuppance.
I mean, it's very much a trope of, like, hot chicks with filthy mouths doing just badass things.
My favorite trope.
Yeah, I fall squarely into that category.
Everybody loves that category.
Ugh.
And come on, I mean, just woof.
Yep.
Everybody, woof, woof, woof.
Yeah, there's a woof. There's definitely a woof. But, like, I don't know how to view it, you know? Because, again, objectification usually comes with, like, weakness or, like, some kind of, like, this woman needs to be saved. But there was none of that. Like, she was a Valkyrie through and through. There was no hint of weakness.
Victimhood.
Yeah. She was here to fucking kill you. And that's what she was gonna do. And that's what she fucking did.
And that's what she did.
And, like, they painted her as a sex object, but she fucking weaponized it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not here to pretend like we're the most objective crew here. We're a crew of people who love titties and cartoon violence, but, like...
This is why you're here.
This is why you're here, and, like, I can simultaneously love titties and love watching a strong woman kick the shit out of an asshole.
It's like Conan, you know, where he's also a sex object.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. Through and through, he's always shirtless, like he's very much a sex object, but like...
I'll take a piece of that, too.
Yeah. Yep. But it augments their character, but doesn't define it. You know, like, there's even a scene where she uses her sexuality against Tyler to try to get close to him in order to break the final vial and then kill him. And she uses it just to the point where, like, she's past his defenses, and then she turns around and just starts fucking stabbing him.
Which was a really badass scene.
Amazing.
So, like, it didn't feel like a handicap in any sense of the word. It was like, she's a character through and through. She has these body parts. Certainly, we find them attractive, but, like, it's not a hindrance in any way. She's a warrior. We're not even, like, throwing her a bone here. Like,
yeah. No, she's absolutely badass.
and it's awesome.
And again, I gotta admit, that's what I love about this movie, right? It's like, everybody loves boobies and violence, and...
Bad guy's named Tyler.
Bad guy's named Tyler, fucking lava battles, and metal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what? If you love any of those things, or at least maybe 2/3 of those things...
You should probably watch this.
You should probably watch this movie.
And you know what? And again, it's also, I've talked about this before. I don't think we ever talked about it here. I like to compare the movies, and push back if you guys want, Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, in that...
Wonder Woman was objectively better.
Yeah, no, like, she was a badass.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was badass, and she didn't say she was a badass. She just was.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, we were just told over and over again that she's so strong and she's such a badass, and then she, like, sort of fulfills that, but, like, it's just different, you know? In this, she just was. Like, she was the kind of character that, like, you want to be regardless of gender because she's a fucking badass. We were never told that that's what she was. It just felt very, like, genuine and real in a way that, like, I really appreciated.
So how does this movie end?
She kills the bad guy.
Uh-huh.
And then the good guy turns out to be the bad guy.
Oh, no!
And then she kills the bad guy.
Actually, she doesn't kill the bad guy. She
traps the bad guy.
Lets the bad guy into the fountain of youth and then shuts the door and locks it behind him so he stays in there forever.
You don't want that.
No.
Objectively, no bueno.
Congratulations, you got immortality, but you're locked in this room for all of it.
You're in the pantry with unlimited food.
To live forever. Sorry.
Okay, so...
Queen.
Queen.
Oh, yeah, and Zeke, our little rock friend, who we barely mentioned once, takes the key and fucks off into space.
What was Zeke? I thought Zeke was the key.
Zeke was a rock.
But, like, was he just a rock? How was he connected to the...
I don't know, man.
I get the impression, I don't think, they didn't say this explicitly, but I get the impression that Zeke, whatever the fuck his kind is, like, I'm using air quotes here, you can't see, but that was the species or the thing that grabbed the first key and launched it into space.
And then just grew bigger.
Well, and then he was like, I need to fulfill my destiny. And so he grabbed the key and launched into space.
Oh, yeah, he does say at the end, a new rock guardian.
Yes, exactly. I think I get the impression that, like, the rock guardians just sort of always grab the key and just fuck off into space. And they're like, okay, it's hidden again. Like, come find it.
Yeah. Magic asteroid.
Magic Asteroid. Now that's a fucking band name.
Ooh, yeah. I would see that band.
I would too, on mushrooms.
You wouldn't even need to bring them. They're already there. Just find the dirtiest looking guy and ask.
Did we like this movie? And if so, what are your points?
Mark?
I enjoyed it. It was fucking weird. Like I said, I saw the first one, and they're not really even comparable. They're so different.
Wildly different.
This felt like an homage to that movie. Like, this movie came out in 2000, and it had an animation style of the late 80s. You know, this movie came out after X-Men, you know, and it was, like, dripping in, like, 80s nostalgia.
Can I jump in there? Because you're talking about the animation style, and this is something that, like I said, I would bring up later. This movie was an absolutely, like, bonkers fucking mix of shitty late 90s, early 2000s CGI.
Oh, yes. God.
And awesome Treasure Planet / Gargoyles style animation.
Yep.
With a Land Before Time watercolor sketchy background.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the most unbelievably weird mix that I've ever experienced in a movie. Truly.
I've never seen a movie quite like this.
I've seen 2 of these motifs married together, but I've never seen 3. And it was literally like when that fucking dude was hopping around at the end, the bad guy, the bad baddie, what was his name?
Odin.
Odin was fucking hopping around at the end, and when the ships are flying around in space, it is like the shitties sort of 90s, 2000s sci-fi. It's like Reboot. Like an
show reboot?
The show
Yeah,
reboot,
yeah.
it was very clearly computer generated, but like crude and very clinical in some ways.
And
he was like the bad guy from Reboot hopping around, but he was hopping around
in slow-mo.
In slow-mo in opposition to characters who were like fully animated the way like Treasure Planet characters or Gargoyles characters were. And then the backdrop was still always like a beautiful fucking detailed watercolor like Land Before Time or, you know.
You ever see one of those movies, like, I'm thinking of action movies around this time, but like live action, right? Where the actor jumps out of the way of a CG explosion.
Oh, yeah.
It's just very
Obvious.
painfully obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
And the explosion is always oversized and then minimized to a local location, so you get essentially like a tiny mushroom cloud when a car goes off or something.
Yep.
That's what this felt like most of the time. They merged the CG with
the explosions definitely had that vibe.
Lord.
Like they really had a sort of like realistic kind of explosive vibe, but it felt superimposed on the rest of the film.
Honestly, if they did hand-drawn animation like most of this movie was, and just skipped the CG,
Would have been better.
It would have been multitudes better.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think, I don't know for a fact, but I really think that a lot of people's critique of this movie, as compared to the original, which was fully animated, I think stems from that.
Right.
The attempt to incorporate CG.
Well, and there's an immersiveness. There's an immersion when you're watching an animated film, because the rules are different. I mean, fall physics, bullet physics, like physics in general, just have different rules in animation, even in animation like this.
In like the micro actions too. Like someone gets hit and then like they get up and they like shake their head. That's not something that people actually do.
No.
But it feels right when it's animated like that. Like just, you know.
But like in one of the scenes, one of our token good guys, who I can't even remember his name, but he's the annoying sidekick character that tags along. Not really worth mentioning.
Exposition vessel?
Yeah, our exposition vessel falls off the ramparts of this city under siege. And we've seen how tall these walls are, and it just cuts and shows him falling on the ground, and he's just kind of rubbing his shoulder. I'm like, dude, you just fell like 60 feet. You're fucking dead. But it's animated, so it doesn't count.
Right?
Makes sense. Yeah,
And those are rules that we've just universally accepted.
It feels like they started making a sequel to Heavy Metal when the original came out in 1981. And they just kind of kept working on it at a snail's pace.
For 20 years.
Yeah. Well, because, like, all the assets of it, like, it didn't fit. Now, I appreciated it because it was unique, but, like, it felt like it was just 3 decades worth of footage that they just put together, you know? Almost like the Star Wars, like, the re-releases where you can, like, clearly tell what is, like, Jim Henson and what is
CGI that was superimposed
all of the
on top of it.
retcon shit.
Yep.
like that. That's how it sort of felt. And I was fine with it because I didn't have like a nostalgic bent on this particular movie. And so it felt unique and original. But if I ever see it again, I'll be sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed. I was like, you couldn't even hand draw the big bad guy.
Yeah.
In the final sequence.
Like, you couldn't even hand draw Odin to be...
That was curious, because up until that point, it was basically just ships in space that they decided to make the CG.
Every single character was hand-drawn.
This one fucking guy, he was a cartoon up until this point, and then suddenly he was CG at the very end.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I think this might be more like of its time in that in 2000, it was probably more laborious to CGI a character than it would have been to hand draw it.
Yeah, so they wanted it to be big and amazing, and like,
and they wanted to
oh,
spend
the final sequence, he's CG, and like, holy shit.
And they wanted to spend their big money on that moment.
And only by 2024 standards are we sitting here going like, and that was shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You probably should have just animated him.
It was probably super cool 24 years ago.
I bet you it was super cool 24 years ago.
But not now.
But no, not cool.
Okay, so let's talk about some likes and dislikes. I think we traditionally start with the likes.
Yeah.
I really like I don't know, it's going to be weird. I'm going to say like adult animation. I don't mean it in like the sexual. I mean, certainly, you don't mind a boob or two.
Or six.
Or
A boob or 2 or 6?
Yeah.
That is also a song by Titties and Triple K.
Yes, it is.
A boob or 2 or 6.
I like animation that is not Disney. because it feels like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
You know? Every fucking animated thing that we watch is all just Disney, Disney, Disney.
Yep.
This is not at all. And so I appreciate that unique element to it.
I'm going to piggyback on that and say completely unnecessary, but also necessary shower scene.
Oh, in the very beginning. That was also like a, hey, make sure you don't get your kids around.
Yeah, this was very much this is the kind of movie you chose to watch.
Would you use the word gratuitous?
Honestly, I would
In
have.
that scene, no.
I would have if that was the only scene in which anime titties appeared.
Right.
You know, it would have been gratuitous. But, like, I think this whole movie is kind of gratuitous. Gratuitous sex, gratuitous violence, gratuitous youth juice.
I'm sorry, there was only one sex scene, and that was between the weird lizard things when they showed up at that planet.
Yeah,
That was the only actual sex.
in her brain.
Pray tell.
Oh God.
They crash land. She's like surveying the planet. This is when they make it to like the final destination, if you will. She's panning over the horizon and she like sees these two weird lizard aliens like
Just boning.
boning, you know? And their expressions are amazing. Like
What style would you say it was in?
Oh, doggy.
Yeah. There's a little woof. There's a little woof woof.
The fact that it was in unison.
I asked that question with a very specific understanding
Yeah.
of what the response would be.
Did you get the response you were looking for?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah. The Mount of the lizard things had this like, you know, having the time of his life, you know, kind of thing. But the Mountie looked bored, complacent. Are you done yet?
Right.
And it was captured in like, what is it, like 3 seconds?
And Mark felt personally attacked.
Yeah.
I did. Thank you. Thank you.
Because he's usually pretty bored
Sorry, that was a bit of
during
an
it.
aside.
And, you know,
And complacent.
and goddamn, I'm giving it my all, and he just could not be...
He just can't wait for you to be done.
He can't be any less enthused.
Yeah.
But that, and again, big aside here, that was the only Congress.
You said it was good sized.
I didn't look at the wiener. That was the...
It's hard to look from behind.
You can cut that. You can cut that out if you need to. But if you don't,
But I don't have to.
Yeah, it's true. That's up to you.
Editing, you know, the magic of editing.
Who knows? Who knows what goes in? Who knows what comes out? Most people.
You need to start laughing.
fucking damn it!
You need to start laughing out loud because it makes for good podcast if you're laughing out loud.
But that was the only Congress that we actually witnessed. And
What kind of Congress?
Sexual.
Oh, okay.
Things like I like the idea of all of like the fucking music video, but I didn't recognize any of the songs.
No, I'm 90% sure that these songs were created for this movie.
Absolutely, and I actually have that in my dislikes. Is like I feel like this movie would have benefited from like songs that were already created and crafted that people had like an affiliation with, and liked already.
I mean, your bad guy's Billy Idol,
Knit that into the fucking narrative.
right?
I don't think they should have created an original soundtrack.
No, I agree. Are we just organically moving into dislikes?
I think we might be.
No, I got some good likes.
Okay. Let's get the rest of these likes out.
One thing I did appreciate, okay, this is like small and stupid, but like the aspect of the stars
Oh, God.
was actually pretty fucking cool. Like, in the sense that, like, if you were moving kind of rapidly through space, right, the stars that are closer to you would appear to be moving faster.
You're
Right.
talking about the parallax effect? Or whatever?
Yeah, kind of like in your field of vision, the stars that are farther away would appear to sort of remain constant. They accounted for that in their animation in the beginning of the movie, and I actually kind of, not just the beginning, but throughout the movie, I actually kind of appreciated that. I
That
thought
was dope.
That was pretty fucking cool. Like, they didn't need to do that. You gotta like new metal.
Yeah.
I'm a huge metal fan, and I'm a huge new metal fan. And I will not make any fucking compunctions or excuses. I know there are a lot of metal fans out there who hate new metal. And you know what? I have to say to you, fuck you. I love new metal.
That's what he says to you.
I fucking love new metal. And this movie, I think, made good use of new metal, but I think it also contributes directly to why people don't like this movie. Certain people in particular, people who love the original, they wanted that sort of like 80s style, you know.
Heavy synth and shit like that.
Yeah, well, Billy Idol, you know, Judas Priest kind of like metal, which I fucking love, which is why I love the original. But I think this movie was of its time, and they were trying to make it with updated sounds, updated metal. And at the time, new metal was, you know, we're talking about new metal, NU metal, not NEW,
Right.
but it was new in the NEW sense. And I fucking love new metal because that's what I grew up on, by and large, in addition to the stuff from the 80s and 70s. So this movie really resonated with me. But if you were a Gen Xer who absolutely loathed nu metal, which many Gen Xers do, this will not resonate with you probably in the same way, because you won't be able to get into the soundtrack.
Right.
Yeah. Which is funny that a movie called Heavy Metal that's built around that, the soundtrack is a low point.
Yeah.
A low point?
I mean, in some ways.
For some.
Yeah.
I would say it's a high point for me, but a low point for
it's just
Gen
divisive.
Xer metalheads. It's divisive. You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's see. Okay, one thing I did love. When she gets into the shootout with Tyler in the bar, everybody on her side of the bar just basically decides, well, I'm on this side of the bar, so I guess I'm on your team.
Right.
And just starts firing back at Tyler and his goons.
This woman walks into a bar and just opens fire with a Gatling gun on this dude, and nobody bats an eyelash, right? He starts firing back, and firing rather indiscriminately, and everybody on her side of the bar is just like, well, geographically, I'm closer to this person.
Yeah, and to be fair, there was that bit where, like, Tyler, like, snaps his fingers, and, like, a bartender or like, a waitress shows up and just, like, sucks up the blood and, like, hooks this corpse that's in front of him and just drags it off. So, like, they established that, like,
This is a brutal place.
This might be a slightly rougher crowd than you're used to.
Yeah.
are we still liking?
Yeah, I got a few more.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I loved that. I loved that aspect where they were like, well, I'm closer to her, so I'm going to fire that guy.
Yep.
You know what else? Dinosaur lava battle.
Dinosaur lava battle, the fucking gladiator pit.
Motherfucking dinosaur lava battle.
Yep. Badass.
How do you not love that?
You do love it.
You do. You know why? Because you're a living, breathing, red-blooded American.
I mean, they had lizard men in loincloths with nipple piercings and battle axes.
Well, you're not a true
What are you
lizard.
gonna not have a nipple piercing?
Right?
It's utility. It's sexual.
You can hang stuff on it.
Sexual lizard.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that. Lizards, quite horny.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you gonna keep your keys? You got your keys on a carabiner. Hook it to your nipple.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're a lizard,
I thought
sure.
you were going somewhere else with that, but I like it.
A carabiner nipple, if you will.
A carabiner nipple.
Nipple.
Nipple!
Benipple. Okay, so
What else did you like?
it's just me.
Well,
All right, one more.
Titties.
did you like the titties?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Two more.
I feel like that goes without saying.
Two more. Fine. Yes, I like the titties.
But that counts as-
It was
as
amazing. They were amazing. And I'm not going to pretend like they weren't amazing.
You had this profound experience.
Of course, the Doctor is space German.
Yeah.
The Doctor is space German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to do experiments, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know why, but it's dark.
Now I kind of want to go back to the titties.
You want to go back to the titties after the space doctor?
They're both great. I mean, but like, to be honest, I feel like our appreciation for this is born out of our specific experience in the world. Right? We existed in a time and place where we were the kind of the last generation to come of age sexually prior to the advent of the internet, or maybe perhaps congruently with the internet.
I was going to say, maybe even just in the early days of it. But.
And so this was the kind of
The silliness that you could get at.
seeing space titties on the television because your friend's dad just happened to buy Heavy Metal 2000 on Betamax.
Right.
It's kind of an important coming of age moment for you.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there with your friends, and you're feeling all hot and bothered. But you can't do anything until you get home.
Right.
You turn on Channel 88 and you say, hey, I saw a pair of those. Less scrambled, but more animated.
Yep.
On the movie I just watched with my friends. I pretend I was not as interested as I was.
That's true.
Is there anything we didn't like about this movie?
Well, I have a couple of likes.
Oh, sorry. We didn't get to your likes.
I particularly liked, and this is going to sound silly, I particularly liked the dialogue for how absolutely just fucking corn-brained it was. Like, all of the dialogue in this movie is just cut and paste from action movies. And it was perfect. Like, it knew what it was. It knew its lane. The dialogue didn't have to be snappy. It didn't have to be unique or creative. It was just action shit. And I loved that it just stayed in its lane. I loved that they didn't try to pretend that this movie was anything other than what it was. I really liked the creative aspect of this. Like, there was a lot of really cool shit in this.
Yeah.
The fact that they went to another planet that had not one but two sentient alien races It felt very much like H.G. Wells' Time Machine with the super intelligent, peace-loving race.
Six Eyes.
And then the super not-so-intelligent, warring race.
Like the
Dinosaur battle lizards.
The Morlocks and the...
Eloy.
Yeah. Or the fucking Gungans and the Naboo.
We no like the Naboo. They think they so smart. They think their brains so big. Wow, we maxed the fuck out on that. We're looking at the waveform right now, ladies and gents.
You're welcome for your
And you know what? Turn your volume down because 36 seconds ago we went. What did we do? We went all fucking boss nass on your ass.
I love it. Oh my god. But I just loved the creativity of it. You know, we had some very unique looking aliens in the bar. We had sentient alien race on the planet. We had a different sentient alien race on the planet. Like they fleshed it out. I liked where they went with that. And I liked that this movie was just very unapologetic.
Yeah, that it was. Like, it just...
Knew what it was.
It just went there. I don't think a movie like this... Well, I don't...
We say this a lot. It couldn't be made today.
Did this movie even have any kind of... This did not hit theaters.
No.
I mean, this came out after some, like, high-profile movies. I mean, this came out after fucking Spider-Man.
Right.
Did it?
I mean, 2000? What was
I
Spider-Man?
thought Spider-Man was 2001.
Either way, like, it was contemporary to movies that, like, feel modern.
Yeah.
This movie did not feel modern.
No.
So...
Well, no, but it was, like you said, it was an homage to the earlier version. But it was that transition period where, like, we don't talk about that much, right? Where it was like we were transitioning from the pre-internet age to the internet age. And I mean, 2000 was a great example of...
80s and 90s movies were out. And, like, 2000 through 2005, we had some real legendary movies come out.
Yeah. And this movie in particular, like we were talking about, was trying to call back to something that was 20 years. It doesn't surprise me that it seems dated.
Yeah.
But I think that dated aspect was intentional.
Yes,
and
I agree.
And I liked that.
Yeah, I did too. Sorry, real quick. One more like. My wife and I have gone rounds on this all the time. She is super fucking good at predicting movies. And I am super fucking not good at that. And she does not get surprised by movies the way I do. And I think that's why I like movies more than she does.
Probably the same. Alyssa can read a movie like a book in the first 5 minutes.
Yes, my wife too. And she knows exactly what the fuck's going to happen. And she's not at all excited or enthralled by what's happening. And my dull, knuckle-dragging ass is sitting there going like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And I get really fucking jazzed about it.
There's something joyous about being simple-minded in that way.
It is, yeah, right?
It's
like
bliss.
I live in ignorant fucking bliss.
It's great.
And I'll be honest, I did not see the bad guy being the bad guy.
No.
In this movie. And it surprised me in a good way. I was sitting here going like, oh, he's the bad baddie. Oh shit, I didn't realize there was going to be somebody worse than fucking Tyler.
Right.
Which is a weird fucking sentence that just came out of my mouth.
I didn't know there was anybody worse than Tyler.
Nobody worse than Tyler.
There really isn't. And that's
God, that illustrates how fucking bad of choice that name was. But like, other than the name,
perfect.
I didn't anticipate him being a double cross kind of agent situation. My wife would have seen that 30 seconds into the movie.
Yep.
So I would put that as something that I liked. Something that I think people who are a little bit more adept at predicting movies probably would not have liked.
No.
Yeah. Something that I liked, and I think we already kind of touched on it, but just how unapologetic it was.
Yeah.
You know, this movie had a lot of sex in it. I don't know.
Is that the thing where the bits go into the other bits?
Usually.
Well, like, I don't know how I want to approach this. Like, that was a prominent feature in this movie, but it never felt like it was guiding the narrative. It felt like it was just a piece of the universe.
Would you say it was a piece of ass?
It was definitely a piece of ass.
The piece of all sorts of funny bits.
But it felt
All sorts of good bits.
And I don't know if I'm getting lost up in the weeds here, but like it felt like the guiding star of this movie was still like the narrative and where they wanted to go with it. It wasn't just about the sex. Like it was certainly gratuitous, but it didn't feel
It was titties with purpose.
titties with purpose.
Titties with purpose.
Maybe.
I think we need to march with that slogan.
Do you guys, do you know what I'm trying to like?
I do,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of that, but like the scene would cut away from it, and
But I mean, I think that's like the distinction, right, between like a narrative-based movie and like porn right?
Right.
It's like, porn doesn't have that kind of, like, purpose or direction, and it's like, but you could flip the script and you could be like, we actually have a narrative, we actually have a purpose, we actually have a direction, a story we want to tell, but also, you know, there are some human bits that are exposed that we're all really excited about and want to have a good time with.
Yeah.
And we could just sort of knit that in to this very real and relatable and kind of exciting plot line that happens in space and pew 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 and space lasers.
Yeah, like the bar scene, there were titties, and then she came in and annihilated Tyler. The opening scene where we meet Julie and her sister, you know, we see her sister in the shower, and it's very gratuitous for a moment, and then she's like, aren't you late for a meeting? And it's a meeting about, like, the fate of their planet.
Yeah.
And then the bedroom scene with Tyler and Julie, she's seducing him so she can get closer to him, close enough to assassinate him. Like, it was titties with purpose.
Titties with purpose.
And we didn't have a sex scene. We just had her getting close and then her just doing what she came to do.
Yeah.
And
That's the purpose part.
Yeah, I don't know how to, like, describe exactly what I mean, but I appreciated that aspect of it, that, like, the adult content was there, but it wasn't, even then, like, in some cases it was sort of like the focus, like, visually, but it wasn't, like, narratively the focus.
No.
And I don't know if I'm just, like, splitting hairs here, but...
That actually knits really well into my first dislike. This movie would have been 45 minutes without any titties.
Yes.
That's your dislike?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Well, so what I'm saying is, like, this movie felt like it dragged, right? Like, we all agreed that this movie did not feel like an hour and 28-minute movie.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You cut out the titties, and this is a 45-minute movie.
Yeah.
But the titties were the fun part.
But that's, like Mark was saying, you know, the titties weren't the narrative.
Agreed.
So the narrative, while strong throughout, was very short.
Well, here's the question. Did the titties keep us there? Or if you airbrushed all that out, would it still be an hour and 27 minutes of content? Like, would you enjoy it?
See, that's what I'm saying. This is not an hour and a half worth of content.
Yeah.
This is 45 minutes worth of content with 40 minutes of titties.
I'm not following you.
I think I am. You know.
So what Mark is saying...
I'm following both of you
What
here.
Mark is saying, if you shot the movie shot for shot exactly the same, but the titties had clothes on them, would you still be interested in watching it for an hour and a half?
No.
I don't think so.
But I'd be
Exactly.
interested in watching it for 45 minutes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you remove the titties from the equation, this is a 45-minute narrative. Any longer than that, and it's exhausting.
I mean, I
It
buy...
was still exhausting.
I buy that. Like, at the store, I'm going to buy that. But I'm not willing to relinquish the titties.
Well, he's not asking you to give up the titties.
I'm not asking you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this movie wasn't an hour and a half worth of narrative. It
Agreed.
was 45 minutes worth of narrative with 40 minutes worth of titties.
Which are both great. They're both of those things are great.
Which is why this movie is being talked about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also might be why other people would not like this movie.
Right.
Because they would view it the other way around.
A convincing argument if
All right.
ever there was one.
That's fair. So, dislikes... Ooh, one quick question. How about the sweeping vistas?
Pretty dope, honestly.
Yeah?
I don't know if cinematography can be used in this context because it is animation. But
Cinematography.
Cinematography, yeah. No, I thought, like, for lack of a better term, the cinematography in this was pretty fucking epic. And you get that a lot more with animation than you do with live action. So it seems less impressive. It's, like, artificially inflated if it's animated. And you see that a lot more in today's day and age because you see animators trying to flex their skills and muscles, being like, look what we can do, wahaha, and show this amazing landscape. You see it in video games a lot too. Horizon Zero Dawn, Red Dead Redemption 2, there are these amazing shots of 3D animation. And the 2D animation here, with the backdrop of the watercolor, and as we mentioned before, aggressively 2D animation, it merged really well when there wasn't CG involved.
The CG really fucked with it.
Like,
yeah.
the CG just ruined the immersion.
Yeah. But I will say, like, to your point, the backdrops, there is clearly so much effort that is put into the watercolor backgrounds of, like, a movie like this that I just gotta give up props.
Oh,
for,
they're
like,
amazing.
The scene setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the cinematography. I thought it was awesome. I think that there were a couple of shots that were a little bit gratuitous.
A little bit.
A little bit. Some creative, quote-unquote, camera angles.
Of
You know,
the booties.
a lot of panning slowly up the body.
But to be fair, equal opportunity, We had some man butt.
Yeah, and again, it was a major part of the movie.
And Jackson's going, and again, #thirsty.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other points we want to throw out for dislikes or likes? Because we're kind of just mixing them up, and that's fine.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out that's not a like or dislike, but like just real quick, I want to talk about Michael Ironside's character, the bad baddie. Tyler. Nathan Explosion.
Yes.
He is Nathan Explosion from Metalocalypse. From
Big time.
The lead singer of Death Clock. He also had in his employ Evil Elton John.
Yep.
And he had Ken from Street Fighter.
Yes. Complete with Fu Manchu.
And
played by a white guy.
Yeah. Anybody else in his employ? He had a few others that
He had the one-eyed lizard dude.
Yeah, one-eyed lizard guy. I was trying to place him. What do you got for him?
I would just say Lizard from Mortal Kombat.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Reptile.
Yeah, Reptile.
Reptile from Mortal Kombat. And then Doc Ock
Yes.
was his sidekick.
Oh, and let's not forget the lesbian Barbarella dominatrix that were guarding Julie's sister.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because as he walks out of the room, he says, I don't have to remind your people she's mine. And they just look angrily at each other like, aw, rats.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Yeah.
She was gonna be ours.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Yeah.
I never thought I would die this way, but I always kind of hoped.
Yep.
Should we do quotes?
All right, let's do these. I think in this movie, none of them are going to be super profound. So for me, at least, I don't know about you guys, but this is just kind of funny lines.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, I had 2, which means I also had 7.
Yeah, that checks out.
First one, they're docking at that space station, and
Docking is a word.
it's a sex thing. And the computer comes in, lock in your coordinates, ANUS, which, as we all know,
What do we know?
it spells anus.
Is that like a
It's like a butthole.
Is that like a butthole?
Well, it's
Space butthole.
space butt.
Space butt.
New band name, but we don't have to call it. My other one is they're battling. This is when the Xenotype, Xenotype,
Xenomorph.
Xena, warrior princess, is battling Tyler, the non-creator, and he throws out, "How do you lose a 6-foot bitch with a talking rock?" And just the delivery is fucking great.
It was great.
It was awesome.
You know, in Michael Ironside's voice, that is fucking cinematic gold.
Oh, it was crazy.
Cinematic gold.
What other quick quippy lines you guys got?
I have, you wouldn't believe it. I have 7.
No way.
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to read all 5 of my 7. So the first one came in the beginning of the movie. The person who turned out to be the bad baddie is asked the question by the six-eyed fucking guardian types. Are the dark times upon us? The way he fucking says it kills me. He goes, yes, it is written in the old books. And the way he fucking says it is just like,
Duh.
Don't you fucking read?
God
yes,
damn it.
obviously. Read the fucking books. Yes, of course the dark times are upon us. This is exactly what we would expect to happen in the dark times. I really fucking appreciated the way he said that. Okay, so after that, this one is a sort of mainstay, a feature throughout the film is, when you kill someone, make sure they're dead.
He says it twice.
Yeah, he says it to her in the bar, and then he says it to the Lizard King in the lava pit.
Which is phenomenal. It is a quote that really sort of exemplifies the corny, sort of immortal nature of his character. Let's see. Next we've got... Okay, so at one point, shortly after he says, when you kill someone, make sure they're dead for the second time, Michael Ironside's character, the bad baddie, goes, blind... I'm sorry, I can't even say it without fucking laughing. Blind adulation makes me so horny.
So weird.
That line, I feel like, really sort of grips at the core of this movie.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
No, it's right up there.
It fits.
Okay, I've got 2 more. One, I only put it in here because Michael Ironside was so famously the leader of the Roughnecks in Starship Troopers. In this movie, he just, like, as they're making their final assault on the, what do you call it, the fountain of youth juice, he goes, everybody fights! And that doesn't sound very interesting by itself, but when you think of it in the context... delivery, when you think of it in the context of Starship Troopers, one of his famous lines in Starship Troopers is, everybody fights, nobody quits. If you don't do your job, I'll kill you myself. And it was just so clearly something that he was famous for saying, even at the time that this movie came out, because Starship Troopers was, what, 97?
Yeah.
It sounds right.
Something like that. The final line I have is from, honestly, probably the most famous character in this movie. His name is Mark.
Mark D. Script?
Mark Klupp. Mark Klupp.
That's how it's pronounced.
He just exasperatedly, about 20 minutes into this movie, goes, everything's got titties.
Immediately followed by, this movie is so horny.
It really is. Everything had titties.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I, coincidentally, it's weird that this happened 3 times, but I also have 7.
Oh. Shite.
7.
Thank you, Monica. So I'm going to read all 5 of them. My first one requires very little context because we got very little context. Door opens and the space German scientist just walks through and goes, I am a genius. And just...
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a genius.
So...
And a space German.
The second one is an exchange between Julie and her unfortunate sidekick that she picked up along the way. And he's like, yeah, he's going after some, like, key of immortality or some shit. And she's like, why didn't you tell me that before? And he just mockingly goes, sit down, be quiet, shut the fuck up. Like, making fun of her for silencing him all the time.
Yeah, because she was, like, berating him in, like, the scene right before that. Just telling him, like, I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah. My third one is when she unapologetically murders a blow-up doll,
but a very sophisticated space blow-up doll,
sex robot. And it's like glitching and making orgasm sounds, and she just blows its head off, and she very sultrily goes, "Was it good for you?"
God.
And I just fucking started howling.
Amazing, just like way too far over the top. Just like murders a sex doll.
Yeah. Just blows its fucking head off and mocks it. My next one is from Tyler after the failed attempt at intercourse.
Coitus?
Coitus with Julie. She escapes and he just roars to an empty room. What does it take to get laid around here? That was awesome.
I mean, we've all said it.
Yep.
You know.
I've said it 3 times tonight. Right. Y'all are not putting out.
My last quote is from our favorite unfortunate sidekick who somehow survives the whole time. The lizards have broken through the gate at the Citadel, and he's like right in the line of fire. It sounds so much more dramatic than it is.
That's also a very sexual metaphor. It's like, oh, the lizards have broken through the gates of the Citadel.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're really into D&D, all sex can be reduced to the lizards breaking through the gates of the Citadel.
It's true. It's true.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So he's running for his life from this army of lizards, and he goes, okay, this is gonna suck.
This is gonna suck. It is like it's a perfect fucking line because it's exactly what would happen. Like, okay, I'm trapped. These things are dangerous. I'm going to die horribly.
There's no way this comes out with a good ending.
Is gonna suck.
This is gonna suck.
Yep. So, are we ready to rate?
Riggedy rate.
All right, let me jump in here.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna give this thing.
Go for it.
A 6.5.
Oh shit! Gets him.
Nipple rings.
Oh,
goddamn.
Because everyone in this movie who had a nipple had a ring. Almost. There were so many nipple rings.
Almost every nipple in this movie had a ring on it.
Yep.
And as we all know, if you like it,
you put a ring
on it.
Yep.
I also heard that from one of the great philosophers of our time, Beyoncé.
Yes.
Beyoncé. I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to give this movie a 6.1 battle lingeries.
Yeah.
Battle Keenies.
Jorkston.
I'm going to give this a 5.9 lizard skulls.
Oh, yeah. That is so crazy. He ripped...
He just wore it like a face mask.
I think that's how government works.
Yeah.
You know?
You annihilate your predecessor, melt him in a pool of acid, remove his skull, and wear it like a face mask, like you're some demented version of the Lone Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like the 1964 election. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's pack it up, guys.
So, yeah,
pack
guys. That's
Wait, shit. What is that over there? What? Is that what I think it is? Could that be a
Fuck, that's a scene score.
Scene score.
Like Mark's little. at the end. Okay, so scene score. We got to adjust this fucking score that we just gave it. We had 11 respondents to our movie familiarity survey.
How many of them were familiar?
Our movie familiarity out of 10 was a 4.5. So let's say about 45% familiar.
That's pretty high.
It's extremely high. When these started rolling in, and I keep track of them as they roll in, I thought we were going to be over 5 for the first time. In terms of our familiarity, which is fucking crazy because none of us had seen this movie before tonight.
Nope.
I don't know a lot of people who have seen this movie. What the fuck are you guys doing out there in cyberspace where you fucking seen this movie?
I've never heard of this movie.
How dare you?
Well, I think the first one has pop culture.
I'll pop your
chops.
culture.
You
I'll
can't-
pop your culture, Mark.
You can't pop. You can't pop or the fun won't stop.
You know what? I'm gonna pop, lock, and drop it.
It's fine.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so 4.5 out of 10 for our average familiarity. Our average score was 6.2, which I think was pretty appropriate. Do you know why? Because my score was a fucking 6.1.
Oh!
Yeah.
Cheat codes.
Cheat codes indeed, Mark. Cheat codes indeed. So that almost flat familiarity along with our 6.1 gives it a teeny tiny infinitesimally small bump up to a 6.4 for our scene score. Thoughts?
I love it because
Valid.
it's real close to my 6.5.
Fuck you.
Yeah, sure, if you want, but
Get him, Jackson.
oh no.
He just cracked his fingers
Oh no.
right in your face.
Oh no.
I was
Goddamn.
really hoping that was going to be more impressive.
Yeah, I was expecting more, but I was trying to lean into it for your sake.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you want this flower to bloom, you need
I
more
was
crack.
supposed
Oh
to
my
be
God,
like
you're
and
gonna
it was just like,
you're gonna bloom his flower.
yeah, I'm gonna pollinate all over that.
That's a happy grape.
Are you pollinating him?
yeah.
Oh, you nasty.
He's buzzing around.
Oh, goddamn. Okay,
Looking for the youth juice.
whoa.
God damn it.
Whoa.
God damn it.
Oh.
No.
Is that what that stank is?
No.
Get out of my basement. Get out of
No.
my basement. 6.4 on the scene score. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Nothing you need to rush out and see, but you like animated movies, if you like violence, if you like dinosaurs and lava and fucking
Titties.
swords and most importantly, if you like titties, go and see this movie post haste. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That is all. I think, yes?
Yeah.
For the All Crap review. Thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for movie reviews, or if you want to get involved and contribute to the scene score, you can get a peek at upcoming movies by taking our short weekly-ish movie familiarity survey. You can email us at 3, that is the number 3, meninabasement@gmail.com, or you can check us out at tmaab.podbean.com. TMAAB stands for 3 Men and a
Basement!
Also, please be sure to check out Tears of My Butthole. Which is
Wow, that really rolled off the tongue.
it is a stanky band, and you know what?
Musk.
Yeah, it is. They kind of have that beaver gland thing going on where they musk everybody. Also, on second stage, we've got Titties in Triplicate.
That's something you gotta see.
You would think they'd be on third stage, but no, all 3 of them right up there on the second stage.
They're taking the cake.
Yep, they usually travel in pairs, but in this case, there's 3 of them, and they're devastating.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Finally, on the last stage, back in the deep corners of the festival grounds, we've got Magic Asteroid.
Oh.
Which, hey, listen, if you've got a Magic Asteroid, just go ahead and get yourself some hydrocortisone cream or maybe some witch hazel wipes.
Yeah, you need to take care of that because it will get infected.
It will, and you'll have to get surgery to remove it. So, Magic Asteroid, third stage, way away from the main event. They are all on tour now. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
All of them.
iHeartRadio, probably a wax cylinder that you find in your grandpa's cedar chest. Yeah? What else?
Under a bush.
Under a bush? Under any kind of bush.
Standard bush.
Just all sorts of bushes.
Yeah, a shrubbery.
Or wherever you find your podcasts, whether it be under a bush or not. And until then, I'm Colin McLeod.
Mark up here.
Action Jackson.
And we'll see you in cyberspace. Surprisal.
I like it.